guys, it's Cam Harris back again with another video with Derek, as he's still with us.
Not dead yet.
What are we doing today?
I was scrolling the internet.com and I came across many different subreddits on Reddit titled Unpopular Opinions about Iron Maiden. And I thought it would be interesting to just run through some of them and see our thoughts on them and see if we agree, disagree, give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, or, maybe there's a nugget of truth there, but we don't care because we're super fans. Doesn't that sound fun, everyone?
Sounds like a blast.
They haven't seen any of them. I'm just kind of
boy.
pulling them out of a hat. All right, let's start with the old Mr. Gears.
Oh boy.
You know what really grinds this person's gears? Yannick's stage presence is akin to a dad trying way too hard to look cool and failing horribly.
Well, I think that's a fairly popular opinion because I see too many people rag on Yannick. I think it's unpopular for a more casual fan to like that because they all seem so angsty about why is he having so much fun?
I just think everyone's jealous that he's having such a good time. I wish I could have that much fun.
I agree, and I would agree that it's actually a pretty popular opinion to not like him,
Absolutely.
honestly.
It's a 30-year-old opinion.
It's very well known.
I will say, I typically am always on the Adrian and Dave side. This past year, Legacy of the Beast 2022, before Future Past, I spent more time on Yannick's side. And I will say I understand why people do enjoy him now, because it is fun to be on that side. It's entertaining. But yeah, no, it's...
I think there's a few reasons to maybe not like Yannick.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not that he has a lot of fun. It's not like he takes
right,
away...
they pick the worst reason to hate on him.
Well, I've heard it from the beginning of Yannick's just dancing and prancing, and those words always go together for some reason. And he kind of makes a mockery of what Maiden is, as if Maiden was this super serious band back in the 80s.
Their mascot's name is Eddie.
And he's a head.
His name is Eddie. His name is Eddie because he's a fucking head, and they're gonna gripe about he's ruining their image. Come on.
Do you not remember Bruce's speech about Queen Victoria and her periods? They have a sense of humor, okay?
Enough of a sense of humor. I mean, Worm Eddie, Murder Eddie, Boat Eddie.
We're past this.
It's crazy.
Taking Sanctuary out of regular rotation was a travesty.
I love Sanctuary. I've never heard Sanctuary. I'd like to hear Sanctuary. What do you mean, what?
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know how popular or unpopular that is because...
Hey, the internet says these are unpopular.
Yeah.
So I'm going to believe it.
I mean, I can take it or leave it. It's a fine song.
I'm with you.
It's okay.
I can take it or leave it. I'm just a little surprised with how long we've been seeing the band that we haven't seen it. So it's almost become what was a regular rotated song is now a rarity, and I would like to hear it.
They brought it back, Maiden England 2014,
one of those
which was only the European festival one. So it's I saw Maiden England twice, and then they're oh, now we're going to bring it back. And that's also when they brought in Revelations and a couple other weird ones they kind of fit in there. So
I wouldn't say it's a travesty, but it would be nice to see again. So I guess that could be
it's a fun song.
Maybe a 9 out of 10 on the scale of unpopular opinions.
At this stage, if I had to choose, I'd much rather they keep touring than bother with making new music. Would you rather they just go out and do classics tours for the rest of their career?
Oh, but is that popular or unpopular?
This is all unpopular.
So they'd rather keep touring than have new music. I feel like that's a fairly popular opinion.
I think that's a pretty popular opinion. I've talked to a few people that agree with that. However, that's one I can take or leave because the Eras tours are fine. If they did Legacy of the Beast and played some newer stuff that doesn't get played a lot, it doesn't feel...
If they did a 2000s tour,
absolutely,
I would love that. And I love new music, but I feel most fans, you'll see them comment on the post where they've released a new album. They're like, yeah, it's not the best they've done. I don't like it, so I feel like they would want to take it, seeing them live over music.
I can take it or leave it, for sure.
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
I mean, like, looking at the last two albums, and I think we've also discussed this, like, I think Book of Souls and Senjutsu are half of a really good album, and you can put them together and make one great album. And it's like, if that's the trajectory of more albums, would it be better if we just stuck with what we have?
Maybe they should just make like shorter albums. They don't have to be double albums. They don't all have to be like full of like 10-minute
definitely
epics.
Agree with that.
Don't get me wrong, I love new Maiden music, but I love seeing them live a lot more than I love getting new albums. So
it'd be nice to go back to the 17-song set list too, because we're only getting 15 right now, because they're just like cramming all this stuff in there.
I don't know why I thought you were about to say it would be nice to go back to the 17th century. I thought it was going to be this meeting.
That'll be in part two.
I don't know.
I'm just thinking about the Roman Empire, man.
Iron Maiden are bad at timing.
In terms of what?
Releasing tour dates? Absolutely.
No. Live, on stage, playing songs.
No.
I'd say absolutely yes.
Certain songs there have
Stranger in a Strange Land, yes.
Fear of the Dark, and what was it, 2019?
Yeah.
It was like every single show, that intro was just like them just trying to be on the drum hits. Like,
and not to mention, especially the last few years, Bruce singing off time was super common.
The thing I've noticed the most with Bruce, and I've seen them way less than you guys. I've seen them 15 times. Of that 15, I would say every night, at least 1 to 2 songs, he forgets lyrics like a lot. Like a lot.
And I would heavily prefer that to him using a teleprompter.
I agree. I agree for sure.
They're married to the fact that it's 100%
authentic. Yeah. So, but I think the reason I don't mind it that much though, if something's off a little bit, because it just kind of reconfirms that hey, they're actually up there doing it.
He's got a lot of lyrics to remember.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
he has. So look at Alexander the Great.
I will say, Flight of Icarus. I have never seen him sing that.
Yeah.
Right. He has always messed the words
Run
up
to the
on
Hills
that.
was a hard one last year.
Yeah.
And Number the Beast a little bit too. But the band's always felt like really loose, and like people say, oh, they're not tight, but I don't think they've ever been tight.
It's like, I don't know if that's a unpopular opinion, because I don't hear people talk about it that much, but I mean, if you ask the general fan, they might say like, yeah, I've heard them mess up. I don't think generally they're bad at timing, but I just
think they're the only band that still does everything 100% live with no help.
And it's, again, it feels authentic and it feels real.
Because it is.
Because it is, yeah.
Like,
if it's not over-polished.
If they were genuinely bad at timing, their shows would not be good.
No.
Agreed.
But I've always felt like the band could fall apart at any moment. But that kind of adds... It doesn't mean that it's not going well. Because we've seen it.
Have you ever seen Sign of the Cross from Stockholm, Sweden in 2018? That song just about fell apart in that middle bit.
I can't believe they kept it going.
We'll show you after this video. If you guys haven't seen it, it is one of the craziest things I've seen. Like, I was sure they weren't going to get that back on track, but they did.
That's intense.
They have a tendency to play too fast over the years. I get adrenaline, but sometimes it feels like a race.
Yes, absolutely.
Power trip.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're like, we got to get done and get out of here now.
I think I would have agreed with you 10 years ago, but I feel like they have slowed it down.
They have, and I feel like when you listen to like Live After Death, or like you listen to even recordings from Somewhere in Time, or listen to like Made in England '88, they sped a lot of songs up back in the day.
Absolutely.
But I feel like over the years they're kind of leveling out, because you listen to, and I'm going to use Flight of Icarus as an example. Listen to that on the Live After Death, then listen to it from like Nights of the Dead. It's played at its normal speed again. But I felt like a lot of bands did that, sped their stuff up.
But it's like, I can feel that like Time Machine is a tiny bit faster. I can feel that Hell on Earth is a tiny bit faster, but it doesn't affect the performance. I think it makes it more exciting.
Yeah, I think it just kind of adds some extra oomph to it.
I think it becomes a problem when they're speeding up songs that are already very fast.
Yeah.
Which I think they're beyond at this point in their career anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
It's only slow them down from this point on.
Well, is it an unpopular opinion or not?
Do they play too fast? Well, it's if we agree with it or not. I don't think they do.
I don't think so. No.
No, not anymore. Definitely they used to.
Yeah.
But not anymore. Nico's drumming makes it hard to enjoy them live. He's just all over the place. Coming out of fills early or leaving late and forcing everyone else to adjust.
Definitely unpopular opinion.
Yeah, I don't agree at all.
I don't agree with that at all. No.
Even with his modified drumming this year.
It worked.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's not using a metronome. That's obvious, but it's also not obvious that he's messing the songs up in any way. Like,
So something I noticed this year is with the Trooper. In Vancouver specifically, I noticed that drum fill at the beginning, he simplified that to where he just like do. Like simple, but it did not change or alter the song hardly at all. It made it easier for him, and the song still stayed together. And it's like I very much disagree with that. He could do just about anything and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Like really.
And it's like a lot of blame gets placed on the drummer for any mess ups because it always sounds like it's the drummer's fault, even if it's somebody else's fault, because sometimes the drummer adjusts to the band.
Sure.
And everyone will be like, oh, the drummer messed up. You know, but
Of course.
Live After Death is ridiculously and embarrassingly overrated. Bruce doesn't sound good at all. The video for the concert is also damn near unwatchable, with Bruce throwing his hands in the air for every single word he's singing. I've never got the love for this release. It's probably the worst live album they've ever put out.
Oop.
I'd say that is an unpopular opinion.
I gave this some thought when I read it, so I'm a little advantaged.
Okay.
But I was like, it's probably the most famous.
Yeah.
It's the most classic. It's the thing that if they could bring it back, everyone would want to see that again. Then I thought about every live release after, and I was like, better. And I was like, oh, it may be the best set list and the best stage show, the most classic era of the band, but I don't think it's the best live recording of the band.
But I don't think it's the worst because you have a Real Live Dead one. That sounds awful. Bruce sounds so uninspired of those. And then Live at Donington, where I still feel like the quality is not as good. And I'd say Nights of the Dead is also way worse than Live After Death.
Count that one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Live After Death is a very mid live album. I think the set's great. Bruce does not sound. I think Bruce sounds better now than he ever has.
Oh, absolutely.
I think their best live album, hands down, is Rock in Rio. Hands down.
I do agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think that's generally an unpopular opinion because if you told that to, any given fan that they would definitely disagree with it. I definitely don't think it's their best. I do love it because I love the stage show. I love their costumes and everything. So I love watching that video, and I do agree that Bruce is doing lots of funky stuff with his hands back then.
I think he's
still finding his place. I think, but it's.
But I don't think that's generally a bad thing. It's just it is an observation.
They also went into that as their first live recording, and they don't really know what to do. It's like, okay, let's give the most bombastic performance, the most movement we've ever done, and it was also at the end of a year-long tour.
That tour was outrageous. With dates,
Bruce does not sound good on Aces High.
Yeah, the album version of Aces High for that is rough for Bruce. Like, there goes the song. He sounds way better now.
I was actually revisiting Live After Death recently, and with his then come, and it's like everything that he has this voice crack at the end of everything he says. It's like, oh god, but that was recorded over what?
It's 3 shows.
I was gonna say 3 or 4 shows, so it's like, oh.
So I'm kind of on the middle in this one where I don't think it's the worst thing they've put out.
Yeah.
But I do think they've done many more that are of better quality.
Agreed.
Bruce has awful vocal technique, which started during 1983, was exasperated through 84, and didn't get better until 1990.
I don't know anything about vocal techniques.
Wrong,
so.
And the reason I'm going to say that's wrong is there's this YouTube channel called The Charismatic Voice, where they have a vocal coach that watches this stuff, and she has hailed his vocal technique as being absolutely incredible. Yeah. So I'm just going to say, based on professional opinions, wrong.
I think that his voice, and I actually kind of know what they're saying on 1983, it started to go downhill a little bit. I think it was excessive touring, And like Number of the Beast, I think was his most incredible voice ever. Like the 82 tour, like that Run to the Hills from 82 is unreal.
And listen to the Beast Over Hammersmith live album. That sounds great.
He never quite sounded like that again, even on just the next album. It's been a little bit raspier, and his voice changed just a little bit. I don't know if it was through touring or if it was just age.
And it could be that, but it's like also, think about how young they were when they were doing this. You know, not only are you getting older, but it's like back then, I don't think people exercised or maintained their voices as much as what they do now to keep up with it.
Smoking was in every
Absolutely,
building. And,
you know, so I think I would say definitely he sounds better now than ever. I absolutely agree with that, but it's probably because, you know, people stop smoking, they stop drinking, they have better diets, they start taking care of their voice and you know, do all the things that Vince Neil isn't doing, and that it helps them keep up with it, and you know.
So I kind of agree what he
I
said.
get it. Yeah.
Yannick doesn't need a guitar. He should just dance and do stunts while the band is performing.
Hard disagree.
Yannick's solos are sick as hell.
But I don't think that's unpopular because I see people comment crap like that all the time.
Yes.
Like people think they're so unique for hating on Yannick, but you're not.
Let me just add something here. This is online forums about Iron Maiden. These are super fans that care that much to post this stuff for other Iron Maiden fans to read. So we're in this boat of, yes, it seems like a popular opinion to us. They're saying to the wide audience, this is an unpopular opinion. Or no, sorry, it's the opposite. They're saying that to us it's an unpopular opinion because that's who they're talking to. The super fans.
That's crazy to me, honestly. Yeah, I feel like Yannick does add a lot to the band.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the thing that I like so much about albums like Fear of the Dark. I love Fear of the Dark. His solos in that and his guitar tone just it adds something to it, you know. There's just I don't know, the atmosphere he brings is great. And again, being on his side a couple times and seeing him perform, I mean, he's entertaining to watch, sure. And I get why people want to see a guitar person just up there shredding and making like O faces all night, but
that's like, what Adrian's for.
That's what Adrian's for.
Get both.
It's not get like both.
It's not like
Adrian's you don't want to watch Yannick? Okay, cool. Then stay on that side or just pay attention to them. Like
pretend
who
like
cares?
He doesn't exist.
Absolutely.
But the cool thing about having Yannick is they've legitimized their entire career together. Like they're able to play all of the '90s stuff, and it still sounds right. So the people that Fear the Dark favorite album. And that love this song, like the people in the delis that tell us that Fear of the Dark is the best song ever written. Like, what is that song without Yannick?
We don't know because we've never had him do it. So it's like, who knows, you know?
It would be weird.
It would be really weird.
Blood Brothers without Yannick. Anything off.
Dance of Death.
Yeah, it's impossible.
You can't have it. Do you remember on Rock in Rio when Yannick actually played the intro to 2 Minutes to Midnight instead of Adrian?
Yes.
It sounded weird, but I kind of loved it.
That's because they got used to doing it that way through the 90s.
That's so rad. Love it.
I hate live albums that are taken from different shows but edited together as if it's one concert. This was normal practice in the past, though, not exclusively a Maiden problem. So when did this start? Flight 666?
I love that, though.
I don't know.
For Maiden, Real Live Dead one. Because both those live albums were recorded in different cities all over Europe, so that's when that started. But then they started doing cohesive live album. But then Flight 666 is where they kind of repopularized it.
That worked for that because they also had the documentary.
Exactly.
It came with a documentary that showed how they got to these
absolutely.
places.
But doing like Book of Souls live chapter did not hit for me. You know, I prefer like a cohesive playthrough. But like when you listen, I'm going to bring it up again because I think it's a garbage live album for a great tour, Nights of the Dead. That you can tell that was recorded across 3 different nights. Like it does not flow.
It's not consistent. Even the sound's not
consistent. It's real bad, you know. So I get where they're coming from for sure. I would rather have a cohesive one that was recorded over a night or 2 in the same place. But I like the idea of doing it in different cities to kind of represent.
To me, it only works if it comes along with like, hey, you're watching a documentary where we went boom, 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 boom here, and it feels like, hey, we just got to this city, and we hear another song like Flight 666 was the best version of them doing that.
I agree.
And then they did it again with En Vivo, except it was a single show. So they did it both ways, showing a tour and then either splicing it up or doing a single show.
God, and En Vivo's such a good live
But
album.
Book of Souls was honestly such a letdown. It's something that I can't just like put on.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing connected to it. It's just random clips of the tour, you know?
I don't really have much of an opinion on this one.
Okay.
I think live Maiden is better than no Maiden, and honestly,
Like,
some of their
yeah.
live songs I'd rather listen to than the studio versions because I enjoy the live versions that much.
Like, I do like the En Vivo style, but I also don't hate the other style, so just don't really have an opinion.
Their live sound has been poor for decades, muddy, unbalanced, and doesn't really do their playing justice. Time to hire a new sound engineer, preferably a young one. Could not disagree more.
That's has that person seen them live, or are they watching YouTube videos? Because that person can play in the pond if they want to be a silly goose. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
So is that.
I'm cute and quirky, okay? I am baby.
Listen, I could understand somebody saying that before Pooch came in.
Yeah.
But Pooch really cleaned it up.
Oh, yeah,
I agree.
absolutely. It's phenomenal.
Dude, that is
And this opinion is from this year.
That's definitely unpopular.
That's very unpopular. Very unpopular.
Everything I hear from, like, the fans of the show is how awesome it sounded.
Yeah, I mean, and we've done every place in the venue.
Yeah.
Like, it's great everywhere.
Yeah. No, I highly disagree.
To be fair, we haven't done every place because we don't do the rafters.
No.
No, absolutely not.
Well, they don't pay enough money to hear sound. So, all right, they should drop Once and For All, Fear of the Dark. It's an overrated song.
Amongst super fans, yeah, that's pretty popular. I hear people say drop Fear of the Dark all the time.
I could live without even just one tour. Because the last time they dropped it was early days tour. They didn't play it. And I don't think people cared that much. Honestly, if they went one tour nowadays without it,
Well, it's like they
I
did
would
for
be
Number
fine.
of the Beast this year.
Yeah, I would be fine without it.
Absolutely. They should tune down.
That is the stupidest opinion I've ever heard.
Absolutely
So yes, I've never heard anybody say that
I've not
ever.
heard a single person bring that up.
Like, I understand the fact that with age comes a little bit of, more wear on the vocals. And I can't believe how much people bitch about Bruce's voice today versus how it was 20 years ago, 40 years ago. And comparing it to 20 years ago, like, how much is it degraded? 10%?
I mean, a little.
15%?
And a good example for this, look at Number of the Beast from Flight 666 till Legacy of the Beast, because they played it every tour between then, pretty much. So, the scream at the beginning. First time I saw Maiden in 2010, he pretty much did the whole thing. Now he can do about half of it, but I feel like Bruce is adjusting his voice for what he's capable of, and it's fine.
But it's
it works fine.
Look at last year with Senjutsu. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of that song, but you can't deny there's some very long, high parts in it.
Yeah.
And, like the Hallowed Be Thy Name and everything like that. Like,
The problem I have with downtuning is we've seen other classic bands do this, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It's not good, yeah.
If he can do it, and he wants to do it, which he does, then do it.
right.
Rather than make the song sound different. Because this is something that is very Maiden specific, is we're listening to, soon to be 50-year-old songs eventually. And they'll probably still be in their original tuning. I can't name one band that can still do that.
No.
And that's why they're so popular, because they still sound like they should.
Absolutely.
Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills should be permanently retired.
Not permanently. I do enjoy them.
I like Number of the Beast a lot. Run to the Hills was one of the first songs that got me into Maiden, but I will say it is extremely overplayed, and if they never played it again, I don't think I would mind that much.
I think that they could drop it for the rest of their career up until the last tour and
I agree.
bring it back and it'd be exciting.
Yeah,
again.
that would be fine, but not forever.
Yeah, I enjoy seeing it, but I like that they're taking 4 to 5 year breaks in between playing it, so that when they do bring it back, it's like, oh yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
I'm not. There's other 4-minute songs I'd like to see.
There are times when 3 guitars live feels unnecessary, and it causes the sound to go a bit muddy.
I don't agree.
Disagree. I see Pooch turn down Yannick for half the show, so you're only hearing 2. So there you go.
It's like when you're playing video games with your younger sibling and you unplug their plug. I feel like they just do that to Yannick. They're like, just let him have fun.
Well, you see a lot of the time he's just over there like messing around because he genuinely doesn't have a part to play. Yeah. You know, like at that moment.
I wish they would rotate more songs. Every show being exactly the same is not necessarily a nice thing. I actually really agree with that.
I do too.
And I know the argument is, it's a very complex stage and they rehearse it to a T and everything. But I feel like they could have 2 or 3 songs in a set list that can rotate and have a different backdrop. I
agree.
I don't think it would be too much to ask.
Especially if they play double headers like Chile next year. 2 nights in a row, change out a couple songs.
Yeah, like they don't have to be hard ones.
Absolutely. Like, perfect example. Can I Play with Madness? Switch that out with something. How big of a deal would that be, truly? Could be fun.
Agree.
What was it again?
I wish they would rotate more songs.
Maybe 1 or 2 in the set, but that's about
They don't
it.
have to pull a Metallica and play like a...
Because I like the way that they do things live with the stage and everything, and I know that makes less flexibility, so I'd rather just like... If it's 1 or 2 that only require like a different backdrop, sure. But other than that, no, I don't want like Metallica style.
I wish Dave and Adrian would move more. This is just the opposite of I wish Yannick would move less.
Right.
Like, everyone just needs them to move.
What do you want?
Just the way they want.
You know what? I am fine with what Davey does because he just sits there and
he does his little windmill arm.
And he's smiling the whole time with those little cheeks. My God.
He checks the knob. He looks up at the ceiling for a second. Yeah. It's great.
He does.
He's
that. He does his nod.
Oh, yeah.
Adrian does like some spins and hops now and then too.
He does. I don't like the wraparound second floor of the stage. It obstructs Davey and Nico for a third of the audience, depending on the venue. I would prefer if it just ran down the back of the stage.
I'm sorry, baby. That's the way things have always been and always will be, and I wouldn't have them any other way.
Yeah. I mean, I see where they're coming from. Like,
I do get it, but I don't agree.
No, like, I
don't want them to change things now this late in their career.
And they won't.
No way.
But I do see where they're coming from of, like, you want the whole floor to be able to see the stage, and there's these big obstructions.
And stop being broke and get floor tickets, sorry.
No, I mean, even on the floor, like, if you're out too far.
That's true. Well, get there earlier. Sorry. Sucks to suck being a fake fan.
The keyboards are mixed in a way that is much too loud for the songs. I actually...
Live or albums?
Live. I mean, they add keyboards to songs that never had keyboard. Like Fear the Dark has a bunch of keyboard.
Yeah.
I somewhat agree with that because there's been some live shows where I'm like, whoa, that was loud. Like,
well, I do like it though in some songs, like where Book of Souls during Red and the Black, where they kind of heighten.
That was very loud. That was really loud.
But I really liked it though. It was kind of cool.
I noticed Time Machine. They had the little in the background that was super loud this year.
Yeah, they're just unnecessary. Yeah.
Like it could definitely be like.
Well, you got 3 guitars up here,
and they're all going.
They're just like, it'd make this song slap even harder if we had the keyboard do the thing in the back. Yeah, it's. I get it.
The new lighting rig is meh.
I fucking love the new lighting rig.
With the lasers, dude. That lighting rig is awesome.
I just think because everyone saw Legacy and like chandeliers came down and things moved up and down and stuff.
We're in the future now.
You know what? I will say it. I was a little disappointed by the stage show this year, just because Legacy was so big.
It was a big step back.
Man, it is. Yeah. But I think they updated enough to make up for that with the LED screens, the like RGB laser lights up top. I
expected a little bit more myself, but yeah.
But that's just coming off of Legacy was so insane.
Yeah, I think that just, skewed my vision.
Absolutely.
But if Legacy never happened and we saw that, then nobody would think twice.
Absolutely.
They could not play Iron Maiden and the show would still work.
I agree.
I mean, I agree because I've seen it, but like...
You almost don't want to break the streak.
Right.
It's been played at every show.
I feel like it's just like it's tradition, and if it's somebody's like first show, they kind of like you want that to be in the set for those people to be able to see Eddie come out and everything.
Yeah. I mean, it would just be too weird to not have that and a big head or something.
Like, what would they play before the encore if not Iron Maiden?
Yeah. Why break the streak?
Yeah.
Disagree. Rock in Rio 2001 was their best live album ever.
I agree.
You literally just talked about this, so
front to back, sideways, inside and out. It is perfect.
Totally agree. And that's it.
All right.
We did it. We went through unpopular opinions, and we agreed and disagreed along with them.
Fun times.
Yeah, it was good.
Leave us a comment down below. What's your unpopular opinion?
Yeah, and we'll tell you if we agree or disagree.
And why is it that they should bring Angel and the Gambler back?
Don't listen to this guy. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. As he said, comment down below, and we'll see you next time. Well, we will. You have to go home tomorrow.
Damn. Back to Ohio. That prison.
Bye.
Bye.